Hey guys, Speed here, and today I'm bringing you a new video with kind of a weird spin. I'm just going to be talking about something that's not necessarily Dota meta related, but kind of things I want to see and hope for Dota in the future. So today's topic is going to be heroes that I would like to see get buffed in 7.21c. Now 7.21c might not come out for a while, however, what is important is to note what heroes are also not that good, maybe so you can avoid picking them, or understand why they aren't strong. Now before we hop into the main content of this video, I just want to let you guys know that you can check out guides just like this one, made by top tier pros, and have over thousands of different options over at gameleap.com. Now, let's get into the main video. So first on the list, for a hero that I don't think is too bad, but definitely needs some buffs, is MIRANA. Now, MIRANA actually has gotten picked quite recently in the pro scene, however, to no success. The hero, it has a weak landing stage, it has weak farming capabilities, its ganking capabilities are weak, right? Starstorm does not provide you with enough damage, right? Ever since the Ags got nerfed, people have been trying to make this hero work. They've been running it with Drow strats, running it in high tempo lineups to abuse the leap charges, just overall really trying to make MIRANA work. And ever since its peak a few patches ago, it's really fallen off. And I think the main reason is the meta and how Dota has shifted into a Bracer and Midas meta has completely phased out MIRANA. Now, what I mean by that is MIRANA just has an inability to get things done on the map like other heroes. Compared to a hero like Pugna, you can't pressure towers. Compared to a hero like DK, once again, you can't pressure towers. Compared to a hero like Ember, you can't rotate as quickly, and you don't really scale as well. So for that, I really think MIRANA needs a buff in her farming or kill potential. And for this, what I think could be a nice buff to her is give her an agility game buff. I don't really think tinkering with this hero's skills are that easy, as they're just kind of set in their ways, right? You could change leap charges again, make them buff, or kind of just change the numbers. However, what I think would help the hero most is a buff to items such as Dragonlance, or buffs to her agility gain so that she can actually scale, or base damage buffs, finally, so that she can lane compared to a lot of the other heroes, such as Kunkka, or Viper, or any of the high base damage mid laners that we commonly see in the meta that just absolutely destroy MIRANA. Next up on the list is Axe. Now, it's actually really sad to see Axe in this place right now. The hero was so dominant for a period in time when Battle Hunger was just one of the best spells in the game, and Counter Helix was a very nice value level 1 spell. However, times have changed and your spin is just so bad at level 1. It's really hard to cut the creep wave, and people have truly figured out how to deal with Axe. If you send a tri-lane against him, he will get almost no farm, and this hero without farm is actually just a piece of garbage. There's almost no heroes that actually have as little impact as an underfarm Axe. To put it in comparison, if you were 2k net worth on an Axe and 2k net worth on a Sand King can stun from range, he can safely clear creep waves with his invisibility Sandstorm. He just kind of has options, where Axe you just don't have options. You die super quickly if you fall behind, and even when you're ahead, right? If you don't hit some god tier call, you often can just call and die. There's a ton of heroes that pump damage in this patch, right? Heroes like Doom, heroes like Tusk, they just pump out damage and just make Axe feel not that tanky. So for those reasons, Axe really needs a buff. I think he needs a buff in his ability to have impact while not having the game of his life, or just more consistently have impact, because the hero is just too unreliable. Axe with a bad game is just so bad. And for that, I think Axe needs maybe either a buff to Blank Dagger again. I really don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. The item was nerfed quite a few times, and that really crushed the hero, simply because Call is a much lower cooldown than Blank Dagger, which definitely hurts the hero. And what I think could help him is maybe a buff to Vanguard. Now, Crimson Guard recently got nerfed, and it would make it a buff to Crimson Guard, so I don't think this is going to happen. But maybe in the future what we'll see is a Ring of Tarask buff, where this item can actually build into something useful, because it's a seemingly nice Axe item, HP and HP regen, but it doesn't build in anything besides Heart. So if there's some early game item that they make Heart of Tarask build into that maybe gives you movement speed or some damage, potentially that could help Axe actually have a place in the early game. Next up we have WINDRANGER. WINDRANGER is just unreliable in a lot of ways. You can't do a lot of damage without your ultimate. You actually almost do no damage without your ultimate. Shackle Shot is unreliable, and Power Shot is unreliable. So overall, this hero is just not reliable. Your laning stage is mediocre, right? It actually is okay against some heroes. You have decent base damage, decent attack animation. You have a nuke to secure CS. However, what you lack is, once again, the ability to actually make things happen. Now, I'm going to go over the same examples as I did kind of like MIRANA to make the case in point clear. You can pressure towers, right? Focus Fire does not do nearly enough. Power Shot is decent for farming creep waves, but you can jungle for your life, so you can't snowball. And you don't gank that well, right? Because you need to max out Power Shot, you need points in Wind Run, but you also need Shackle Shot, including your ultimate. So overall, you just need so many levels to make things happen, and if you don't have Power Shot, you're not going to kill anything. In fact, Power Shot without a Maelstrom is not that good. It's just not that good. And for that, the hero definitely needs a buff in terms of cooldowns, in my opinion. I think they need to make Focus Fire maybe a 50-second cooldown. This will enable the hero actually to have some tempo. I don't think it would make it broken, because it wouldn't allow the hero to farm. It would still be a Windranger, but still lack the ability to actually snowball. It can't farm jungle, and it would still be really bad at that. So I think lowering her cooldowns of Power Shot and Focus Fire will enable Windranger to keep up the tempo and actually have a niche of this hard-to-kill, high-tempo hero that she just can't currently be. And number 2, I wanted to include a support in this, and that support is going to be AA. Now, AA kind of does have a place in Dota, right? You can counter some of the healing heroes, but the problem with AA in specific is a lot of those healing heroes have actually fallen off. Alk is just kind of a non-factor. Huskar recently got nerfed, so AA is kind of losing its place. But what's more important to note is that this isn't the main reason why AA was actually strong. AA used to be strong simply because of Chilling Touch, right? You had the ability to win lane. Chilling Touch was the equivalent of today's tag team. It made your lane infinitely stronger, and now that you don't have that, you're once again this just piece of garbage. You're just a piece of garbage that stands there. You're essentially a position 5 Rubik. You just do nothing. Unless you know what you're doing, of course, right? In the pro scene, it's actually quite viable, but in pubs, please don't pick it. It's so bad. The problem with AA is so many team comps are just high tempo, strong laners, and AA can't deal with this. It has no mobility, it's slow, it just stands there and does nothing until you're level 6. And for that, I think what they need to do is enable the hero to actually have a way to get to level 6 without looking like a piece of garbage and getting reported and having your safe laner abandoned before the 5-minute mark. And for that, what I think they need to do is make Cold Feet a little bit better. Now, this is kind of scary, right? Because you don't want to make it a reliable stun that stuns for 2.5 seconds in the early game. However, what they can do is potentially make it slow. What I'm thinking is make Cold Feet have some value when you don't have 2 follow-up stuns, right? The hero has no potential in the laning stage, and even if you have a follow-up stun, there's just no follow-up damage. Its attack range isn't even that impressive, and its attack speed and damage don't add up to the fact that it's just so bad. I feel bad for this hero. Genuinely, I really do. And for that, I hope they buff Cold Feet in some sense so that the hero can have a laning stage, because I don't think they're going to change his third ability back to Chilling Fingers. Not Chilling Fingers. Chilling Touch. Chilling Fingers sounds pretty cool. Maybe that's the next version. But I really do like the hero. I think it has a lot of potential. Its ultimate is one of the coolest in the game. A low cooldown, high damage nuke. It's a really nice concept, and I think it works with a lot of team comps, but the laning stage is just so detrimental. Alright, and finally, at the number 1 position for a hero that I really think just genuinely needs a rework, almost a complete rework, is ABADDON. With this new, passive being a pseudo Jingu that just isn't as good as Jingu in any way, it just doesn't make sense. I think the hero just doesn't make sense. It doesn't really have a place in Dota. If you want to purge, pick Oracle. You're not going to pick a weak laner simply to have a purge. It makes no sense. The problem with the hero is, if you're going to build a Radiance core, pick Lifestealer. Or pick Alk. Even pick Jug for that. Just don't pick ABADDON. Because chances are, Lifestealer is just going to eat you up in the laning stage. Or Juggernaut's going to spin you to death. Chances are, you're going to come out of laning stage 0-5. Your whole team's going to look at you and you're going to be like, don't worry, I'm level 4 with level 2 shield and I can't jungle. So what I'm going to recommend for ABADDON to get him back into the meta is that they re-implement Iron Talon. Now this is a great change for ABADDON. I'm kidding. Please don't do that. I'm miserable for Dota. It's actually terrible. It's like the current patch's Hanamitis. It just ruins the game. I'm joking. But in general, ABADDON just needs the ability to actually have a laning stage. And I think what would potentially give him a decent laning stage is making his passive a little bit better, so it actually has some viability, potentially changing it to 3 hits instead of 4, and buffing these stats on Aphatic Shield by a small number. Now, this is an ability that, if buffed a little bit, gets buffed a lot, right? Because if the shield takes more to pop, it also does more damage when it pops. So I'm thinking if they raise it by 20 or 30, this will enable ABADDON to actually apply some pressure in lane, because you just can't jungle, right? You can't fall back into the jungle. You don't catch up, you don't push out lanes, so you have to have a good laning stage. And for that, the only way ABADDON comes back into the meta is if they buff his numbers by a little bit so that he actually can man up and maybe cast some aphotic shields, right? That's the last point I want to make, right? Before I end this up, aphotic shield is way too much mana. It's way too much mana. You're a strength hero. You're not a dark seer. You can't cut the wave. You just stand there. You put on this shield. It costs 1/3 of your mana pool, and you're like, wow, that popped in a second and had no impact. And then you realize the hero's garbage, and you never pick it again. That is the problem with ABADDON. It needs the ability to lane, and for that, I think it is actually probably one of the worst heroes in Dota, and the #1 spot on my list. Thank you guys for watching the heroes that I would like to get C buffed in 7.21C. If you feel like there's any heroes that I missed, I'm actually not sure, because I looked through the list and I picked out all the ones I really think kind of have a niche, but just don't have their place in Dota. So if you think there's any hero I missed and changes that you would like to see, definitely let me know. I'm very interested. I like thinking about the patches and what they could do in future patches, so I'd be happy to hear what you guys are thinking as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, but before I leave you, I just want to let you know and remind you that over at gameleap.com we have thousands and thousands of guides made just like this one by top tier pros so that you can learn the game of Dota in depth and gain MMR as fast as possible.